Please, everyone should mute their devices while the presentation is on, except you are recognized to speak. Secondly, all questions should be short and precise to give room for as many people as possible to ask questions. Please, if you want to ask questions, signify by raising up your hands. You'll be duly recognized. You can also make use of the chat section to incident your questions. Please note that all questions will be answered. All questions will be answered by the DG, National Council for Arts and Culture, or the guest speaker. Distinguished participants, I would like to remind you all that this is the 5th in the series of NCAC Zoom session on emerging trends in Nigeria's cultural industry. As you all know, the National Council for Arts and Culture is the cultural headquarters, and we continue to put modalities in place to set the pace as regards our cultural expressions. Permit me to introduce our guest speaker in Adejoh, fellow Nigerian Institute of Management. She is a serial entrepreneur with an eclectic work experience spanning the university, mortgage bank, top management positions in oil and gas services, as well as construction. She's also a quota management consultant and is currently the lead consultant, Mercy Mega Communication Resources Limited. Today, she will be speaking to us on the topic, New Frontiers in Skills Acquisition during COVID-19. You are welcome, ma. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, major stakeholders, members of the 4th Estate of the Realm, you are all welcome once again to the 5th in the series of NCAC Zoom session on emerging trends in Nigeria's cultural industry. Please permit me, distinguished participants, to invite the convener of today's Zoom session to tell us why we are here. The Director General, sir. The DG, sir.
Good afternoon, dear participants. It's my honor and pleasure to welcome you all to the Zoom section today, yet another exciting moment with us to share thoughts. Many thanks to all our participants for joining us this afternoon. Today, New Frontiers in Skill Acquisition during COVID-19. We have so far trained over 10,000 people over 3 years during our program, like NAFES, INAC, and other platforms that we've been able to use. This is in the spirit of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari's vision and policy focus on diversifying the economy in order to create jobs, with that of the Honorable Minister's charge on the creative industry. We've been able to put all this together to see how you can train individuals without physical contact, with due respect to social distancing. To discuss this topic today is one of our best in the communication skill industry, who is a consultant, who has paid the price of one of the best in among our society today. Christie Adejoh will be speaking today on this subject, New Frontiers in COVID-19 exceptions. As usual, I will expect very robust and insightful deliberation today. May I have the honor to invite Ms. Christie Adejoh to do justice to this topic. Thank you very much and welcome you all. Over to Christie, please.
Thank you very much, Otumba, the convener of this session, and his very hardworking team. I consider it a rare privilege to be able to share my random thoughts on new frontiers in skills acquisition during this season of COVID-19. It's tried saying that it's an unprecedented season in our lives, both as individuals and as a nation. so many things have gone out of sync. We're now in what we call the new normal. I would like to call it the new reality, and it's not a reality that will go away soon. So let's really be deliberate about how we approach life from now on. This season is a season that I would consider good things happening out of bad situations. We like to think that everything has been disruptive, but I think out of this disruption come a lot of opportunities for us to reset our lives, to reset our nation, to reset our developmental strides. And so when we talk about skills, skills generally underpin the anything you want to develop or you want to grow. If you have the skills of a carpenter, you can be a good carpenter. If you hone the skills of a carpenter, you become a good or a better carpenter. You go on to developing more complicated items of furniture or the roof or whatever else woodwork entails. So talking about new frontiers in skills development or skills acquisition during this season, it's not a misnomer. It's something that must happen. It's imperative if we must survive, keep surviving as individuals, or even as a country, Nigeria, or even as a continent of Africa, because the COVID season has sort of thrown us under the bus, push ourselves from under the bus. Oftentimes, they would say, or my people would say, and I'm Igala, by the way, from Kogi State, proudly so. Igala people will say that it is this season of bad times that will make a better ground for the medicine maker, the herbalist. When things are going wrong in the community, that's when he gets his own fortunes. So let's assume that COVID-19 has come to put Nigeria on a better pedestal. It's not perfect to say that certain skills have been learned. Let me start from the mundane, and then we can go on to the more serious layer. Now we know that a lot of people have taken to tailoring, and they're making basic things like face masks, because COVID-19 says we must all wear face masks. So we have the tailored face mask made of local materials, made of Ankara, made of Ashoki, all sorts. That alone has made people to go to some kind of quick crash program tailoring, in addition to the expert tailors already. We have people who are making, mixing all kinds of chemicals to do the hand sanitizer. And saying at this mundane level, some people have learned analyzing such also. I so that on a more serious level, going by that flank, a lot of entertainers have had to organize online concerts. Here in Africa, we have quite a number. I remember clearly watching one from, I think, Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal, and they were really now real ballads. This will also do for our mental health. I am also a mental health enthusiast. So I know that in this season, several skills have come up. Some have really helped others to be able to cope with this season of lockdowns here and there. We have also in the agricultural sector, people have ventured into areas they hitherto would have thought was beneath them. People have started growing their own vegetables in their backyards because some of the markets were not open. So some of these food items were not available. I know a friend who started growing her own ugu in her backyard and some other herbs. Some of us started growing things on our balconies, in water bottles, in all sorts of containers. These are skills. But we'd like to even go beyond this basic balcony or back investment, because now we know that certain things or certain herbs and certain plants will help build our immunity. So we have the Neem Producers Association of Nigeria. I think it's represented by a certain Malam Magoro. They are a force now to reckon with. And so new trends will come up in these areas. Let's even move on from agriculture into what tends to be a very pervasive area for skills acquisition. And I'll dwell a lot more on that. And that's the area of digital technology. Acquisition of skills in this area is something that must be underscored at all levels. And you ask me how. When you say that this is a time of disruption, it reminds me of a proverb again from my place, and I'm sure it's something that is fairly common in Nigeria. They'll say when the drummer changes the dance beats or the music, the dancer must change their dance steps. It's become imperative for us to deliberately acquire skills in the area of digital technology. Our Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy launched an initiative, I think a couple of months ago, just before COVID locked us down. I think they launched the Digital Nigeria program. The essence of that is to get us all connected to the digital economy worldwide. It's to also enhance remote learning. And incidentally, every child you know now ought to be learning remotely. Online school classes, online teaching. So in those areas, we also see the need for new skills. Hitherto, maybe just a handful of schools would have been doing online teaching at weekends or some other times like that. But now teachers in all schools, whether public schools, must also imbibe the skills of teaching online. And, you know, presentation online is not the same as teaching in a physical setting. As communication expert, I will let you know that there are certain things that we must do right. Even when you have to appear on Zoom, certain persons don't get it right. I know that some people are either underdressed in their homes and forgetting that the whole community is watching them online. Now, so if as a teacher, you have to reach out to your pupils who definitely are not answering you back in the way that they would if it was a physical setting. You need to have certain skills, certain presentations, and even as a student, discipline to stay the course whilst the online session is going on, the teaching session, learning session is not the same. And it's a hard thing to do because there are all sorts of distractions at home for them. But beyond just the teaching online, the digital economy is an economy that has come to stay. As a country, how well are we leveraging the digital economy? Our financial services sector, how well are they doing? Our medical science sector, how well are they doing in leveraging technology? Skills ought to be honed there. Skills ought to be developed. We need to grow people who can operate patients using the tenets of telemedicine, because that has become imperative. Not everybody can get to the hospital now. In terms of financial services, how many people can access their bank accounts? The banks, most of the banks are getting back to normal business services. But even then, you know that Nigeria is a community that is grossly underserved as far as banking services are concerned. There are quite a number of communities, local communities, and even some other inner communities that cannot have access to banking services, to regular services. So need for social services cannot be emphasized. Quite a number of us went through a lot of horror in trying to get money during the lockdown, when we had a strict lockdown. And you know the number of persons that were locked outside bank premises. But if everyone, and I would say almost everyone, had access to money, to mobile money services, this would not have been the case. But how do you, I know that there are obvious constraints to that. I know you would say to me, is everybody able to use the internet? No, sadly no. The Nigerian society hasn't grown to that, but we're happy at least most people have a mobile phone. Let's start from that. And there must be some basic levels that mobile money services can be done using even the most basic of telephone appliances. I do know that we need to do a lot more public enlightenment, public education. And let me put a caveat here, because it's not just the government or governmental agencies that have the responsibility. The onus is on all of us. When a banking service provider, or should I say financial service provider, expects me to be able to use my phone to transact, I expect that that person has a duty to first educate me, to enlighten me. It's easy to enlighten the people at the urban centers. It's even easy to say, okay, the person who is educated, since there's mass broadcast services all over. But what about the person who is not literate, who does not understand English? What about the person in my village down there, who is a big time farmer, has money, has tied his money up in one branch somewhere in Ayenwa or Ejule? But during the season, he has no access to the money. What becomes of him? How does he know, the provisions that you have in mobile money services? So everybody needs to have their hands on deck. This is a season for everyone to work. It's beyond, even at the level of corporate, even at our personal levels. How many of us have been deliberate? And I keep using the word deliberate because I find it. How many of us have been deliberate to learn new skills for personal growth? In talking about this, people will say that if you are not vigilant, they will take you past your father's house. Isn't it? It's a popular Nigerian refrain. You better open your eyes. How many books have we read in this season of lockdown? I can tell you I've read quite a number. I've read, The Purple Cow by Seth Godin. I've read From Third World to First by the famous Singaporean leader, Lee Kuan Yew. I've read The Black Swan. I think this one was quite instructive for me. It talks about the impact of the highly improbable. And this is a highly improbable season we're in. Nobody thought as of January that we'll be where we are now. So it's good for us in the area of personal growth, personal development, to also hone our skills in certain ways. And one of the best ways, there are 3 basic ways, is to read books. Those of us who are literate, how many books have we read? It's also the people you associate with. Yes, there was physical distances, or there is physical distancing or social distancing, but we had access to the telephones. A lot of us were always on WhatsApp or Instagram, but for the wrong reasons, or for reasons that were not going to pay us in the long run. And then the environment you operate in, again, that's tied to number 2. If you choose your company wisely, you'll be able to achieve this personal growth and development that we're talking about. There are various grounds for us to learn, new skills. If we even talk on the corporate level or on the national level, it's time for us also to think about rebranding our country. What skills can we bring to bear on our national image? What's our national ethos at times like this? Every day we listen to the PTF, reel out numbers. What do these numbers mean to us as individuals, as people who should be committed to the growth of Nigeria post-COVID? because now we're even talking about skills for COVID season. Post-COVID season, we'll need these skills and more. We'll need a higher sense of direction. We need to be more deliberate about how, you know, we position our minds. What's our mindset? What's our commitment to investments in human capital development? Because that's an area that concerns me. I teach communication skills, I teach productivity skills, but I see that a lot of our young people don't just understand it yet. And more sadly, the older generation do not understand that it is imperative to invest in making sure that these younger people get the right direction. And I'll attempt to say it in the native language. It says, in other words, the child that we didn't train, we end up as a delinquent selling the house that we spent hard-earned resources to build. Okay, I'm proud to say that I speak quite a lot of Nigerian languages, and I'm hot on the heels of legends like Adejoh, which also brings me to what NCAC is doing. And I always applaud NCAC because they encourage us to go back to our culture, because culture is a basis for growth, it's a basis for development. I don't see that I can get lost in any part of Nigeria because I can speak or I can understand a lot of Nigerian languages, major Nigerian languages. But are we actually skills? It's a season for us to use the opportunity to teach them language skills. How many of our Nigerian children understand even some of our delicacies? I'm not Igbo, but I, of the famous New Masquerade, had propagated it. So from being a regional delicacy, it's been a national delicacy. I know that NCAC is doing a lot in this area, but again, everyone who's listening today also do a lot more. And have we leveraged the skills set of those who are returning, our people in the diaspora? Abike Tabiri is doing a lot with NIDCOM, the Nigeria Diaspora Commission. Yes, and a lot of skilled Nigerians are coming back home. A lot of them, of course, prefer to be back here because Nigeria offers a better environment during this lockdown. But ostensibly, they're coming back with skill sets that we are not tapping into. And I hope we're listening. Let's debrief them. Let them download some of the skills they're coming back with. Let them help set up some kinds of mind, you know, or thought tanks, mind tanks that, you know, can leverage what they know and what they're coming back with. Of course, the minds of the cyber crime criminals, okay? Because that's also some skills that some people learned. They are negative skills that people learned over this season. But really, we need to, you know, grab as many skills as possible from this set of people. We need to leverage, harness these skills. Quite a number of people let slip opportunities at this time. I am an alumni of the Enterprise Development Center. And what we've been taught is seize every moment. This is a moment that we must seize as Nigerians. It's a moment that we must seize as individuals. At this time, as a nation, we seem to think that we're stuck, but I think it's a time that God has made easy for us. And if we don't seize that moment and be deliberate about it, we'll be like the chicken. The story of the chicken, there's a fable about a chicken. In the animal kingdom in those days, there was, I think, what would be equivalent to a pandemic. And the village head had called an assembly of everybody to the village square. And when they were taking the head count, the chicken was not around, it had gone on its stroll. the chief priest had said, because of the pandemonium or the pandemic, certain sacrifices had to be made to the gods of the land. And everyone who was present did not volunteer. Of course, it was easy for the chicken to be picked at the sacrifice because she wasn't there to talk for herself. So we had better be there when this new normal, this new reality, this new world order is beginning. It has begun. Let's be part of the process now. But we must position ourselves in a very credible, veritable situation to undertake it. I know that a few states in Nigeria or a few entities have started blazing the trail. I do know that there was an initiative by the Plateau State government about developing some softwares and applications. It was a challenge. I don't know how it ended, but I thought that was a very commendable gesture. So the young people would know that they could earn money and fame by developing things that would help us in this season, especially in the area of digital economy. We need a lot of help in e-commerce, in e-marketing. The various skills that NCAC has taught the young folks, over 10,000 people in the last 2 or 3 years, we need to be able to upgrade on that, get onto a different level by being able to do this online. Can we digitally teach young people in remote locations? Okay? There's quite a lot to say in this area of skills acquisition. And I'm not pretending to giving an exhaustive discourse on this topic. I am hoping that the DG and his team would engage other people beyond this session to come and give us, details or specifics in this area. Mine is to randomly engage our mind and direct our thoughts to various. Have you planted anything in your garden? You think the yard behind you is there for nothing? Is it just there for football? Have we been able to learn how appliances work at home? Have we skills? I tell people, and they will laugh at me. It has become the new normal. We almost sneeze or cough into the crooks of our elbows. That's what life is about. So let's change our dance steps as the music has changed. And let's not pretend like the young woman who has a lot anyhow. The older woman has more rags than she would have. Let's learn. China did not get to where they got to. Barring the pandemic, barring COVID-19, China had been specific about training its human capital. What skills are we imparting in the large Nigerian employable young men and women that we have? What is our commitment in the budget to human capital development? Sadly, I know that the benchmark for the budget has changed because of what's happening in the oil world or the global oil economy. Again, that speaks to how we must change from being a mono economy to a poly economy, a multi economy. We cannot keep letting oil mess us up the way it's been going on. We have far too many other products that we can sell. Culture is a huge product that we can sell. Agriculture, agri-exports. We have far too many crops. What are we doing with our cassava? We did say we could get ethanol out of it. The raw materials, research and development, so much cassava is lying waste in my village. They just eat it and make gari and fufu out of it. Is it only food we can make out of it and starch? Must we always wait for others to do things before we do it. We cannot wait for everybody. We must take that lead. And so I would always say again, let's be deliberate. Let's be deliberate about what we do in terms of skills acquisition from now on. I'd like to stop here for now. I don't know how much I'm doing for time, but let other people interject. It's supposed to be an interaction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christie Adejoh. That was a brilliant presentation. I didn't expect anything less. This is, in fact, one of the very important sections we need to interact and see what we can do with the situation we are having at hand now, the COVID-19. How can we make the best out of it? And I thank our speaker, Christie Adejoh, for this brilliant presentation. I thank you so very, very much. We'll be coming back to you pretty soon. I'd like to quickly call for comment from His Excellency, the Ambassador to Cuba. Ambassador to Cuba.
Thank you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead, Excellency.
Thank you very much, my dear Chairman. It's always a pleasure to share with you this opportunity. And well, first of all, of course, I want to add my voice to yours on the wonderful presentation made by our guest speaker for today, Madame Christie Adejoh. Please, thank you very much for your presentation. And I want to make two comments in one of the issues that you were raising. You were talking about, you mentioned telemedicine. And you know, I have always believed that medical personnel are doctors for the body, but intellectual and artists are doctors for the spirit. Both are fundamental for us human beings. And the second comment that I want to mention is to share a Cuban experience regarding skills acquisitions during COVID-19. In Cuba, we have a strong tradition using mass media, and particularly television and radio, to produce educative programs. Just by chance, we have two state channels fully devoted to education. And through them, we develop a lot of different kind of educational system, including postgraduate studies. And general public can follow up those programs, and even to get postgraduate diplomas, following, of course, some rules that are needed to be followed up. So this experience now has been very useful in times of COVID-19, because as I mentioned before, we are using the Cuban television channels and radio to overspread education, even more than before. So the general system of education, including culture, including all the schools network linked to culture, has been passing regular programs, and the TV set has been transformed as a primary school, secondary school, different levels of general education, with the aim to allow young people to continue their studies at the different specialties, at different levels, but not lose the academic year. So this issue has been very, very, very important in order to keep most of the student population in the best position. And particularly in the case of culture, it has been during those times of COVID-19, an extra effort in order to regularly pass educative programs in the area of culture, because of course, culture is very useful in a difficult times that what we are living now, of social distance, of self-isolation and all these things. Culture can help a lot human beings. So to use more educative and cultural programs through our mass media has been the particular relevance in order to keep people in the best situation. So this is experience that we have practiced in Cuba, and I wanted just to share with you. And once again, my dear Chairman, thank you very much for allowing me to participate every Saturday with you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Always a pleasure being with you here. We always love your contribution, showcasing what is happening in Cuba to us. Thank you. May I quickly call Vedayare Parans, Secretary General, International Theatre Institute in India. Vedayare Parans. Yeah, please,
Namaste. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Great. I'm very happy and I feel honored and privileged to be here today in this meeting. I'm really thankful to you. I'm really thankful to my friend Jerry for letting me know about this meeting and allowing me to be here. While listening to the first presentation, I felt that we share so many things in common as society, as people living in two different continents, two different countries. Unfortunately, we haven't taken arts seriously as much as it needs to be taken. Today, we see many people talking about why arts is important, how it is important, etc., etc., etc. But if we look at what exactly is happening at the government level or even at the institutional level in several institutions in several countries around the world, except few countries, we can very comfortably say that society in general tells the artists that you don't matter, which hurts, which is very sad, which is very unfortunate as well. At this point in time, I genuinely believe that all the artists from all over the world need to stand together. And I am very, very happy to see this kind of initiative where artists from different parts of the country, different parts of the continent are coming together and talking about their own experiences, their own insights about what is happening around. As the madam mentioned in the first presentation, that we have to look at this new normal that is going to arise out of this pandemic. Many a times artists feel that after a certain point, everything will be normal, everything will be exactly as it was earlier. And all of us have our own doubts about it. Whether the new normal is going to be the same as it was in the pre-pandemic scenario, or is it going to be something else, something different? And as we all know, none of us have an experience of this kind of scenario. We have never imagined this kind of scenario. We don't know what comes out of this kind of situation. And we need to keep on thinking, we need to keep on talking, we need to exchange ideas that are evolving in different parts of the world. We need to make sure that we learn from each other and we help each other. When I say help, I'm not talking in terms of money or just the commercial aspect of it, but like, for example, I just came across an article a couple of days ago where it is written by an artist based in New York. And he has asked a simple question to other artists around the world, that you are associated with various organizations, various institutions. How many of them have actually called you to ask you, how are you now? Are you okay? What do you need? And the answers are terrible. Answers are terrible. None. Zero. Some artists have responded saying they got a call from the theater asking for donation. It is very kind of weird scenario where we are looking at the arts as part of the society, where we believe that arts is very, very important. The question that we really need to ask, and this pandemic allows us to really dig into this a little more deeper, that are we really needed by the society? And if the society believes that yes, arts is needed, then we need to make sure that we collectively become more proactive and make sure that the artists survive, make sure that artists can move on, and in the new normal, artist doesn't get into this scenario where he is not even considered in terms of support or help or any kind of camaraderie in that sense. I mean, there would be several thoughts that might come to my mind during this meeting when others are also speaking. I will once again thank everyone who has planned this meeting, and I'm really, really privileged to be here sitting with all of you people there. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vanara Say, the Secretary General, International Theatre Institute in India. We're very happy this afternoon to link up with you. Very thoughtful experience we're sharing with you, and we hope we continue to interact. Our guest speaker will be taking note of some few comments. To save time, I'll come back to her very soon. Can I quickly call the High Theatre Agency from Iran, Staramantanza from Iran. Is he there?
Yes, I am here.
Please go on.
No.
Please, can we just save just a minute quickly? Quick, go ahead.
Just let me, for the better of quality, I just need to put off. Hello, thank you for inviting me again. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm happy to be here again since last week. I'm Sepper from Iran. I'm running a theater agency as the first theater agency in Iran, helping to facilitate the relationship between the Iranian performing arts scene and the international community. And in the meantime, I'm wearing another hat of helping to organize different festivals with my friends and curating those festivals, which one of them was a festival that we had the privilege of having Jerry to talk with us in the first day of the festival, and it happened during the peak of pandemic in the end of March. It was, and the name of the festival was Reconnect. It was a live performance festival. It was happening on Instagram platform with 45 shows from 22 countries, from 5 continents, with 25 panel discussions with distinguished guests from all around the world, which was amazing to have each one of them. And it was mainly, the purpose of us was to provide a platform even online for the artists to create, because the artists, exactly as Vidi was saying, the artists need to be cared. Like someone just called them and said, hey, how are you? Are you doing well? And then the festival that we did was totally on volunteer basis. I'm not saying it's good to do a festival with not paying the artists, but what I'm saying is that in those troubling times, we needed some light. And in order to get those lights, we asked the artists that, guys, we are living in Iran. We don't have any international banking. We don't have credit cards, or because of the embargoes of America. But now we need your hand. We want to do this festival, and we would love you to create something for our festival, to be online, not to do any pre-recorded video. And then they answered. So the whole festival, with all of these shows and all of these panel discussions, it all happened based on human relation that Vidi was mentioning. It was based on friendship. It was based on heart-to-heart connection and reconnection during these crazy times. Thank you.
From Iran, it's nice to share some thoughts with you. And I'm sure we keep in touch every Saturday to share moments with you. So thank you very much. Our love to the people of Iran, and we're sure we continue to interact. Thank you very much. Can I quickly call Kofi from United States of America? Kofi?
Yeah, good afternoon, DJ.
Thank you very much, Kofi.
Yes, sir. I'm truly happy to be here today. Thank you for putting this forum together every week, and I look forward to being here every Saturday I now consider it as my Saturday routine. Thank you. I would like to say thank you to the guest speaker. She has really touched how relevant the human spirit is. That means if we bring it out of ourselves, we are very resilient. We can, with what is going on now, the COVID-19, we can see the better part of it. That means that it has to make us to adapt, change, make some changes about things, because if we can see now, just like for instance, when the .com came, you know, right now in America here, most of things are being done online. All the shopping mall is no longer, so people who have shopping mall are adapting, trying to change it into a better use for different stuff. So likewise, I truly thank the guest speaker for reminding us that we shouldn't look down on ourselves, but we should uplift our spirit so that we can be able to make better use of the situation now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kofi, for that very short and sharp comment. We really appreciate. I want to assure you we continue to work together in bringing up the industry to interact and interface to make sure we bring the best irrespective of where we are. COVID-19 will not stop us from making progress. So thank you very, very much. Can I quickly call His Excellency, the Ambassador to Venezuela? Excellency Ambassador to Venezuela.
Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I have to. Hello.
Please go ahead.
Do you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yes. First of all, I need to announce that I am not the ambassador. I am the deputy counselor of the embassy.
Okay.
On behalf of the ambassador.
Okay, very good.
In order to support every topic that everybody speak here, Venezuela have a couple initiatives to handle this pandemia era, post-pandemia era. We have a little program in Venezuela in a TV state, and actually a couple of topics, mathematics, another that I don't remember. I know there's two, and just in the class time, you know, every morning and every afternoon. This is one of the way to handle these kind of things. But actually, we agree that the big challenge is how to deal with not just the new generation. Maybe they are more comfortable with the new technologies. Everybody knows that kind of tool as a Zoom or everything, but the real challenge is the people who is in a growing age, or maybe in a foreign states of Venezuela. The problem, dealing with the problem with internet. Everybody knows about every sanctions from the United States to our country. We share that kind of situation with Cuba, and I have to say hi to the Mr. Ambassador is there. That's the real challenge for us. Actually, in that embassy, we try to continue with our courses, Spanish courses. We're trying to deal with this. Our chairman here, he knows about we have a small group. We are trying to deal with. Don't stop the teach the Spanish language. This is one of the programs of the embassy. We are trying to deal with this, how we can restart the programs. I think there's a most of the couple activities we are doing in Venezuela and here in Nigeria. I really give you a thanks for that opportunity to communicate to everybody, and I'm very glad to be here.
Thank you very much from the family of Venezuela. Please extend our warm regards to His Excellency the Ambassador, and we're very happy that the embassy connected with us this afternoon. Thank you very much. Can I quickly call? Thank you. Chief Mrs. Ezenwa, our speaker for last week, for a short comment quickly, please. Chief Mrs. Ezenwa.
Yes, once again, I want to congratulate NCAC for this brilliant initiative. Particularly, I'm so impressed with this presenter, Mrs. Adejoh. Mrs. Adejoh knows it all. And I'm wondering, without COVID, where have all these people been hiding? Where have you all been hiding? Why don't we carry a placard and meet Otumba Ronshawe to produce for us the list of all the talented people in Nigeria, because he seems to have a very strong database of who is who in this country when it comes to delivering. Just last weekend, we were talking about the now and next leaders. And I think Mrs. Adejoh should be included on that list of the now and next leaders. Skill acquisition is key to what NCAC needs to achieve. And I'm hoping that the rest of my life, I need to devote it to teaching the young people how to make progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Mrs. Ezenwa. Always a pleasure to be with you. I want to thank you especially for being a special bridge builder between the young and the old. We had a lot of comments still rolling in for your brilliant presentation last week. I want to thank you, and I assure you, I will join you in carrying the placard when the time is right. Thank you very much. Can I quickly call on our guest speaker to make one or two comments quickly? Christie, please. Christie, please make some quick comments. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Otumba. I believe that most of the comments were actually in agreement with some of the points I made, but I'd like to just quickly highlight the comment by Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Cuba. She talked about telemedicine. Yes, that's an area that I'm very, very passionate about. I believe we can do a whole lot, and I think I welcome her comments. Now, she also gave us an exposition of the Cuban example in the areas of using mass media for remote learning. I think Nigeria is also doing something similar. It's just that it's not as expansive or as pervasive as we would expect. And in this area, would like to encourage, you know, the telecom companies and other stakeholders to give assistance and possibly extra discounts without necessarily mitigating their profits, because the cost of data and electricity for people to be able to learn remotely is prohibitive as of now. So that's the area I would say. But I also agree with her entirely that culture is very pivotal to our development at times like this. And I think NCAC is clearly leading in the vanguard of those who are putting culture at that top level. Then the Secretary General of the International Theatre Institute from India, yes, he also emphasized what I think is an obvious fact. It's trite that art has not been taken seriously. And I am glad that NCAC is doing this and people can air their views in that regard. The society takes the arts for granted, takes culture for granted, but culture is at the base of every human development effort. The arts provide entertainment, they provide succor. People with mental health listen to certain kind of music and they are healed. They see certain kind of sights and they are healed. So I agree with him that artists are very necessary. And artists need to empathize with each other. They need to coalesce. They need to stand together. If they don't, then nobody's going to take them seriously. So I think I don't need to belabor that point. I also like to talk briefly about the gentleman from the High Theatre Agency in Iran. And I think I like that innovative idea of getting so many artists together to organize some festivals. And like you said, you never know. People are willing to give of their resources, their time, their talents, their assets, just to create that forum for others to be able to showcase their own talents, and also for others at home to be entertained. That festival, Reconnect, I think I read about it some time ago, and I think it's a very commendable gesture. This was good for the mental and social psychological health of both the artists themselves, who were ostensibly out of work, and the audience who will be listening. And then clearly, Mr. Kofi just ad-libbed what I had said about the human spirit being very resilient. Times like these, we throw out the best in us, but we must have the proper mindset. If we don't have the right mindset, then we're going nowhere. So we must reach in and change how we perceive ourselves and how we think, because what we can do is beyond our expectations. We can really accomplish a lot. The deputy chancellor from the Embassy of Venezuela also tried to share their own initiatives with us concerning remote learning. And I agree, yes, there are quite a number of constraints, but those constraints, like in the Nigerian context, I want us to see them as things that can be surmounted. Nobody knew about COVID coming this way. And so let's reach into the inner recesses of the human intellect and the human can-do spirit. Everything is possible. Because if we think about what had been built in the last century and what we're building now, we know that we've gone a long way. Things that hitherto were thought impossible are happening now. So we can accomplish, or rather surmount those shortcomings. And I want to thankfully talk about Chief Mrs. Ezenwa. She's a woman after my own heart. I know that last year during the IFAC, she and I were on the same panel. I think when you had a round table, or was it a colloquium? And that's the woman I'd always admired from afar. She's a legendary entrepreneur. But added to that, I believe that she's also a very kind human being who has offered her mentorship to young people all the time. And I'd like to say, madam, that the feeling you have towards me is mutual. I am quite proud to know you. Even if remotely, I have used some of your products. That's what you don't know. I went into your shop during the AFAC exhibition in 2017 and bought a lot of things from Le Luc. So I want to thank you, the bridge builder, as Otumba Arunsewe has called you. I'd like to also, on this note, thank all the responders and those who couldn't talk but have listened. I know you've also passed comments online. I want to thank everyone extensively for having listened to me as I just gave my random thoughts. It looks like I was rambling, but apparently some of the thoughts were anchored on people's minds. And like I said earlier, I do not pretend to have given a comprehensive discourse. I thank you. Okay. I'd like to just stop at this moment. I thank everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, our guest speaker, Christie. That was a brilliant presentation once again. Can I quickly call Dele Ajakai from United Kingdom? Dele Ajakai from United Kingdom. Is he there? Dele Ajakai, please, 1 minute quickly, please. Dele Ajakai, 1 minute quickly, please go on.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Thank you so much, sir. And it's always a pleasure every Saturday afternoon to be part of this wonderful experience. I would like to, before I go further, I would like to thank the guest speaker. Madam, thank you so much, ma, for what you shared. Just to make a quick comment about what you said. What we've been discussing and what we want to do and our plans for how to project Nigeria the way it's supposed to be projected, I think is key on internet data. Last week, we had this young lady that talked about the advantages of the internet and how to present our culture and the people of Nigeria on the internet. And one of the things that I got out from there is, how do we move forward with that in mind, with the cost of data and the speed? About last month, I was looking at what can I do within this period of lockdown where I cannot go to work and I cannot earn because I am a self-employed filmmaker. And there was this lady I met in Lagos in February when I came to give a talk on competence and the competence and the benefits of competence in moving our country forward. So we were able to strike a relationship then, and during this period of lockdown, and we were chatting, and I said, what about creating a program that we can put online to talk about things that are happening in Nigeria? And he said, do you think it's possible? I said, yes. So she went on recording different episodes going around the town in Bauchi to address some of the key social and cultural issues. And as we speak today, we have about 22 episodes done. But the challenge we have now is, how can she get the video recording to me here in UK so that I'll be able to edit it and easily put it online? The challenge she has now is the cost of data and the speed. So I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the DG that I don't know how the National Council of Arts and Culture can initiate a conversation with other government agencies that are into communication tech on how to help find a solution to this problem of cost of data and the speed. Yeah, thank you. That's my contribution for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adejoh from the United Kingdom. I want to assure you we've taken note of your comment, and we'll make sure we interact with the other agencies to see how we can assist. Our job is to assist and make things very easy, which we call the one-stop shop. And I assure you, you'll be impressed. By next week, we'll have put things in order.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can I quickly call Mercy George? Quickly, Mercy George.
Thank you so much, sir. I am, once again, very humbled to be amongst you without taking time. Tony Robbins said something. He said the path to success is to take massive, determined action. I want to appreciate you, sir. Because of this meeting last week, I was the one that spoke on the digitization of the tourism sector. It will be, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear, sir, that the youth of Delta states that are planning the Warri Arts Culture event reached out to me. Let me just shock you that within 24 hours, I got 74 people registered that are volunteering for that particular association. And I was able to train them just today on how to use collaboration tool. So one of the problems, and thank you, Madam Christie, for what you said, to get to the grassroots is not so hard. It's not about reinventing the wheel. There are already processes in place. There are tools that we can leverage on to be able to blow up this sector. And sir, with all humility, I want to say I appreciate you for bringing the people that you have brought together. Every Saturday, we keep speaking about the challenges from India, from Iran. We are learning from each other. And indeed, we need one another. For us to be able to blow up as a third world country that is now trying to break into the digital world, thanks to COVID. COVID is a blessing in disguise because now I can speak to you. Madam Ezenwa called me during the week. I can speak to her. So COVID is a blessing in disguise, and we are maximizing it by leveraging digitization. And it's not enough. We need to do more. There needs to be more open-mindedness to learn things that can be easy. And this team of 74 people, they're going to make their life easy without burning so much of data. There are things that can be done, and we can start where we are. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the honor.
Thank you very much, Mercy. It's always very happy to hear from you that the youths are connecting and making the necessary impact. 74 members within 24 hours is highly commendable. So please keep it up. I will continue to interact with you. Quickly, can I call Emmanuel Njoku, former Commissioner of Police, now a security consultant. Emmanuel Njoku, are you there? Emmanuel Njoku. Okay, maybe network problem. Can I quickly call Izegbe and Liam from United Kingdom, please? A lawyer and culture enthusiast. Is he there? Okay. Can I call Dr. Uwa Hussein from Uyo, former president of SAN? Uwa Hussein.
And we had the number was changed. Yes, I'm on.
Please go ahead.
I'm on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, yes. I said I would have come in much earlier, but because the number was changed, we couldn't key in. But I thank God I'm finally here.
Yes.
I did not quite get the whole drift of the lecture, but from the topic that was given out, I want to say that we have a stake in trying to get things right during this COVID period. And we are doing our best, like I've always said, to make sure we contribute our own quota. The situation is that life is so different. Things have changed. In the past, when you want to apprentice, especially in the craft sector, you need to buy drinks, do that formality, and then you are taught all the skills. But when you are not even allowed to go out, how do you do that? So a lot of people stayed back at home, lazing around and doing nothing. I just hope that this forum will create opportunities for us to discover ourselves and then know how and when to move forward and join in the whole thing. But the art itself has suffered, which I said before, because the art is interactive. You need to get a model to pose for you to draw or to paint. But the situation is different now. We now have to use our phones, our laptops, and so on to get our references to work. So the question still remains, where do we go from here? How do we manipulate ourselves to still get the same results we used to get when there was no COVID? Thank you very much.
Dr. Uwa Hussein, that's very nice to hear from you this week again. Always positive contribution. I want to assure you that
Thank you.
We'll make one or two comments later. Can I quickly call Adejoh Bilikisu, the president of NATOP, for a short comment? Is she there? NATOP. NATOP. Adejoh Bilikisu, NATOP. Is she there? Please, Adejoh Bilikisu, you have the floor. NATO President.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, but can we see your face?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, wow. It's not quiet now.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm so sorry. Yes, I joined late anyway, okay. But I think I appreciate everyone in the house and the good work that you are doing.
Can we see your face, please? Can you do us that favor?
Yes, I'm happy.
Can you?
Yes, I'm having the issue of network here.
No, video. Oh, network, okay, go ahead.
Yes, I'm having, that's what I'm trying to do. Yes, I'm having the issue with network here. Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate what you are doing. This is my second time of joining anyway. I think I appreciate the guest speaker. I joined late anyway, but I believe what you have put on for everyone to get, for us to get know of ourselves is a very good thing you are doing, sir. So I really appreciate, and I promise by next week, I'm not going to be late to the house by the special grace of God.
Thank you very much. That's Adejoh Bilkisu, the very hardworking president of NATOP in Nigeria. They said, whatever a man can do, a woman can do better. Adejoh Bilkisu is proving that point. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you next week. Thank you very much. Can I quickly have Madam Teresa Ame? Teresa Ame? Another network problem? Open up. Okay, Edward Form. Edward Form.
Yes, good afternoon, my DG. Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me.
Very well, very well.
I want to take my own today from the speakers, the adage the speaker made in Yoruba. Thank God she translated in English, because he spoke about the children and not allowing the children to destroy all those things that we have not taught them. Because if we do not teach children, they will grow up to destroy things. And that brings me to my point about communication, the skill about communication. Communication is a very big skill. And when we talk about trends and skill acquisition, we are looking at a broader topic. But once you say COVID-19, we all agree with me that COVID-19 is sort of linked to a digital era. And if you are mixing the digital era now with what Madam Christie said about children and teaching them, and you also put culture on the background, you will understand that we need as much digital input, training programs through digital means, where these children, all of us on this platform, from the first time I joined 3 weeks ago till now, are all very mature. We are parents, we are grandparents. What are we going to put in place for these little children? So we need to form NCAC, doing a fundamental job right now, has to look towards how we can get these children to acquire this skill of communication. If these children don't know how to communicate now, very different cultural values and cultural beliefs, it's going to amount to nothing when they become old enough to even exercise culture or get culture to benefit them. So in a nutshell, my dear DG, IT is paramount in skill acquisition, and communication, as we know it, is key. So how NCAC can get to do training programs and probably open up to bring a lot of children up on this board to see how they can be trained to elaborate culture through social media means and means of teaching them through IT will be phenomenal, because these children are all we have, and they will now send, and we will bequeath culture to them and tradition, but they must be equipped from this little age. Thank you so much. It's a broad topic, so this is what I will say for now.
Thank you very much, Edward Fong. Honestly, I'm happy today that we got the right speaker. Christie Adejoh is one of our best in terms of communication skill strategy. And she's going to put something on the table today. She will make a short comment later about it. And once again, Edward, thank you for coming to make your comment. Can I call on Brilliant? 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 Brilliant?
Brilliant, sorry. Is it, you are saying, oh, the name is showing Brilliant.
Yes.
My name is, sorry, I'm not sure why it's Brilliant. It's supposed to be Ni Aquabio.
Imi. Oh, it's nice to have you online, Imi. Very old time.
Yeah.
Friend, that's very good. I'm so happy you are with us. Oh, Imi, that's your face.
No, yes, Otumba, when I was told you were doing this, I said I have to be part of it because we have a very long history.
That's true, that's true.
Yes.
Imi, quickly, before you go further.
Yes, I just want to say, I'm so sorry I couldn't get the lecture, but I just want to say I'm happy to be part of this, and hopefully next Saturday I'll be able to link up a bit earlier, and then I'll be able to get the lecture. But having said that as well, communication is very important. I agree with the last speaker. I'm doing something with the government, and I noticed that the government needs a lot to do with getting the staff who work within the government to be IT compliant. Many of them are still in the very old era of doing things. But you see, for the private sector, you can imagine when we are doing business, even up to my drivers are virtually computer literate. But here you come to the civil service, and that is not the case. So I think our governments at state and federal levels must do a lot more to get people in government to become more computer literate, and that way enhance communication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My brother in the Akpabio, it's been quite a long time, but you have to tell everyone you're still looking as young as you are 25 years ago. Maybe there's a secret beyond COVID-19. Nice to speak with you. And also, may I just quickly, officially prepare you very soon. You'll be one of our speakers to tell us what COVID-19 has done to the hospitality industry. I am happy I know that you'll be happy to take this up with us, maybe in the next 1 or 2 weeks. I'm sure.
Thank you, Tumba.
Yeah. I want to get.
I want to say right now I'm the chairman of Akwa Ibom Hotels Management and Tourism Board.
Fantastic.
So what you're saying is very important, because right now we are rolling out guidelines to enable hotels within our states reopen. And then the guidelines will continue to sustain them even after they open. So I think what you're saying is very important. Thank you very much, Otum.
Once again, on behalf of the entire industry, I say big congratulations to you. I'm not aware, I'm just getting to know that you are the chairman now, and you deserve it, and better more than even that. That state is very lucky to have you. I know how passionate you are in putting the best, whatever you are doing. So once again, congratulations in the Akpabio. Can I quickly call, if he's still there, Mr. Kayode Adeyemi for a comment? Mr. Kayode Adeyemi. Oh, it's not there, okay. Distinguished participants, it's my pleasure to quickly call on the guest speaker to make 1 or 2 comments before we'll come back to other contributors. I'm happy our brother from India, from Iran, from Venezuela, Chief Mrs. Ezenwa, and a lot of others. Oh, I could see David Lopez today. You're with us. It's nice to have you. Fantastic. So please, if anyone intends to make a comment after the guest speaker, you can just signify by raising your hands and we'll get back to you. Over to the guest speaker for a quick comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Atumba. I think I'll just quickly speak to Mr. Dele Ajakaye's comments. Mr. Ajakaye called in from the UK, and I can empathize with him. There's so much prospects here, and there's so much people are also doing, and they can't get beyond some shortcomings, like I mentioned earlier in my presentation. Yes, the cost of data, the cost of the speed of data and all that, which again draws us into that conspiracy theory about 5G and all that. But like Tumba said, they can only liaise or interface with other relevant agencies and to do what they normally do best, to assist in making things easy. I believe them. I know that they would address it. So I'll leave it at that. But thanks for calling in and thanks for your compliments. My sister, Mercy George, I remember seeing her last week too on the platform. Yes, I applaud your efforts in getting those 74 people, volunteers, in 24 hours. The Warri art culture, I think, is a pioneer. And Warri people generally, as they say, they know they carry last. But, you know, it also takes all of us to help, to put hands together to make sure that this kind of laudable projects actually work. Thank you for your own input. I agree extensively with you on the other aspects that you talked about. Dr. Uya Usen from Akwa Ibom. Yes, I remember that, I think from last week, you were the one who talked about made in Akwa Ibom shop. Aha. I want to also applaud that initiative. And I rather like the thing you said about the apprenticeship scheme. It has changed. We're now in a new reality. We can't buy drinks and be rollicking around anymore. But I'm sure there are better ways to do this and still have the required fun and impact. We'll look forward to more interactions later. Hajia Bilkisu, well, I don't think I have anything to say. She just appreciates the NCAC initiative, and I also appreciate that initiative. Mr. Edward Form, yes, we both agree that communication is key. It's key to so much, to the home life, the street life, work, at play. Communication is very pivotal. And I, as a communications practitioner, want any better than you've done. Digital technology as an arm of communication must be taught. It must be acquired for the younger folks to leverage. I also believe that we must try to teach our young children the native tongue, our mother tongue. I think there's been studies to prove that trying to learn things in our mother tongue at the very formative years is more beneficial to us than learning an acquired language. So in my home, for instance, I grew up with a mother who would teach us to read and you know, write in my mother tongue, Igala. So I can read the Bible in Igala. I can say things, you know, in that language, but I can also communicate extensively in English. And I think that has placed me in good stead to also learn other Nigerian languages and one or two international languages. So I can't underscore that any more than you have done. I believe that the NCAC is listening, and I'm sure they will leverage technology to teach more of those skills that they've already begun. Mr. Inia Fabio, it's nice to see you, refreshingly. That's someone I know, and I know that he's a guru in the hospitality industry. I also lend my voice to Otumba Zone to congratulate you as the chairman of the Hotels Management Board. Yes, I agree that government or public offices must get all their officers, everyone from the gate man to the digital economy compliant. It's important, even for the fact of safety, physical safety of persons and premises. It's important to have some modicum of digital knowledge. I believe that we can't say this loud enough. I'd like to stop here now and hand over to Otumba Adejoh.
Thank you very much, Christie, for those comments. It's quite very nice. Can I quickly appeal to us? We take time. I just discovered that I'm seeing the name of Alhaji Jani Ibrahim on screen. Is it the former MD of Nigerian Airways? The gentleman who did so much in bringing Nigeria to the international fora in terms of the aviation industry development. Is he the same person? Please, I need to confirm. Alhaji Jani Ibrahim, is he on with us? I want to confirm if it's the same person. Okay, I want to confirm because I just saw the name briefly. Can I quickly call Obina Ukwama? Obina, please, you have the floor quickly. Obina.
Good evening, DG.
Thank you very much.
And yes, I'm on. Can you hear me, DG?
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you for all you're doing. Yes, thank you for all you're doing. Excellent presentation by Christie Adejoh. I'm not surprised. She's an old warhorse investor. But let me go back to you, DG. I like the use of proverbs by Christie, and I'll be speaking using proverbs. My people say that what makes the he-goat smell is inside him. Right from your days in Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, when I met you first, and now that you're in ACAC, I'm not surprised at what's going on, and the fact that you're able to rally people around. It takes one to know the other. Now that oil is dropping, our future will lie in our ability to use what we have. People have stopped looking outside the box to looking inside the box. And we must realize that post-COVID, there will be a mad rush. There will be another scramble. I hope it will not be another scramble and partition for Africa, where some people will gather from Bismarck and say scramble and partition for Africa and decide our fate. Post-COVID, we must prepare, because it's not the big that is the small. It is the fast that is the slow. Like the Yorubas will say, 20 children born the same year can never play together for 30 years. We must prepare, and I like the fact that we are recruiting our people. I'll give you one example and I'll keep quiet. And I know, DG, you know this fact. Over 400,000 coppers are mobilized every year for the NYSC orientation. That is even less than 1.9 million people who wrote JAMB exam in March. We have a huge number of young people who can become Boko Haram tomorrow. But if you engage them, and thank God they are all digital natives. You and I, DJ, are visitors to the internet. These young people are living on the internet. If we engage these young people, believe in them, they will shock you. We need to hand over the baton. It is time to hand over to these young people, and then we'll just encourage them like coaches from the sidelines. Once more, commend you for what you're doing. Keep it up. When they call you high cent, you're not supposed to rob local pomade. Welcome, well done, DG.
Thank you very much, Obina. We have just concluded that every time we have this session, we will end up with a proverb. And Obina has just ignited that fire in us right now. I want to thank you, and I want to assure you, yesterday, the chairman of EFCC, Malam Magu, said it is not about arresting all the young ones who commit crime, etc. But some of them are very good. They are stars in their right. So we will not destroy them. We'll bring them in. And I was so happy that the EFCC chairman made that comment yesterday on television, that all the criminal ones among us will not be destroyed, but they'll be, look, how best can we use them? So I agree with you, Obina, that it's not about throwing away the bathwater and the child. This time, as Nigerians and as friends of the world, we only throw away the water, but we keep the baby and make the baby look nice. Thank you very much, Obina, for that quick comment. May I know if Engineer Kayode Adeyemi is still in the house? I'd like to make just a comment. Engineer Kayode Adeyemi. Yes, I think he's there. Yeah, Engineer Kayode, you can quickly make your comment. Yeah, we can hear you. Engineer Kayode Adeyemi. We can see you, but we can't hear you. Engineer Kayode Adeyemi, we can see you, but we can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself? We can't hear you. Engineer Kayode Adeyemi.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, Director General. Unfortunately, I've been on and off the program, so I've not been able to follow it logically. But basically, I like to associate with this your newfound initiative. We really appreciate it, and we believe that at the end, at the post-COVID, everybody will have reasons to key into this program. But I just hope and pray that you are articulating all these things, and we are not just going to allow these ideas to just come and go like that. We've reached crunch time now, and we cannot afford to to slide further. So I pray and hope that You put all the things together, and we will work towards actually applying all the knowledge that we are getting from all these beautiful lecturers that you are bringing. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Kayode Adeyemi. For most of you who don't know him, he used to be a fantastic player. Those days when we were playing football, Engineer Kayode Adeyemi understand what we mean by injury time. So what Engineer Kayode Adeyemi is talking about is calling our attention that the time is the injury time now. I want to assure you that this agency, we are coming up with a post-COVID document that will prepare us for the future and even beyond COVID, which will soon be over. Thank you very much, Engineer Kayode Adeyemi, for joining us this afternoon. I still see the name of Alhaji Jani Ibrahim. I want to confirm, is it the former MD of Nigerian Airways? There was a gentleman with that name who did so much for this country as the MD of Nigerian Airways. I'm sure maybe somebody is sharing the name with him, but we look forward, if it's the one, would have liked to share some moments of the leadership quality he actually exhibits when it was Nigerian Airways. Distinguished participants, I would like to quickly call, while we're rounding up soon, the guest lecturer to make just a short comment before we round up for the day. The guest lecturer, please.
Thank you very much, Otumba. I think it's very gratifying to have this opportunity again. I really can't thank you enough. By the way, let me just make a comment about Mr. Obinaya Oruakwa and Engineer Kayode Adeyemi's submission. Just a few seconds. By the way, Obinaya Oruakwa is my friend, my mentor, and a work partner. Some of the proverbs that I know today, maybe I haven't said some of them here, but I learned from him. He's the king of proverbs in Africa, undoubtedly so. So I thank you for watching this. Yes, I agree that we must engage the young people. Nobody can doubt that. The digital natives, as he puts them, are the key for us moving on. And that's why I kept talking about how much investment is the Nigerian state, is the African continent putting to harnessing the skills of our human capital. Human capital development should not be on the bottom burner or the bottom rung of ladder. It should be at the top. It should be front burner initiatives. Okay, Engineer Kayode also appreciates the initiative, yes. But I like the fact that he emphasizes that there must be some sort of collation of all these sessions for impact. Yes, NCAC has put this together. Please don't let it just gather dust on the shelves. It must be put out there for impact. You must give it enough exposure for us to gain the traction that will move Nigeria further. I think by way of closing remarks, I'd like to just say that life is a journey, and this cliche is very apt in this season. And as is usual with all journeys, if you don't have a map, whether real or virtual or mental, if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a timetable, you will get lost. Or at the very best, you will just waste your time moving aimlessly and not get to your desired destination. So we must have a plan, we must have a map in our heads as we move on. We must encourage venture capitalists. I think that's something I forgot to say. Venture capitalists often will help us to harness people and gather people to enhance participation of the youth, particularly in skills acquisition platforms. What Tony Elumelu is doing is quite commendable. There are a lot of other people doing similar, maybe on a smaller level, but we should encourage such people. We need to imbibe skills that transcend national frontiers. Deliberately, I use that word again, deliberately. Let's reorder skills development approach to remain connected to the new world order post-COVID. I thank you immensely for this opportunity again. I consider it a privilege, and I wish us all a happy weekend. Thank you.
Dr. Can I quickly once again thank Christie Adejoh for that brilliant response. I'll be calling on Dr. Liz to be on standby. Let me call on Aliu quickly. Is that his name?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Aliu, quickly, 1 minute, please.
Thank you very much. This is my third time on this lecture series. Thank you, Christie Adejoh. That was very, very well presented. I left uni at the time when we had a not similar, it wasn't to this magnitude, but Nigeria was going through the throes of the structural adjustment program when I left university. And upon leaving and getting the NCAC prize as the best final year student in finance from ABU Zaria, naturally I thought that my best employment prospect was to go to the DG of NCAC then, Mr. Frank Ike Imokwede, to give me a job. At the time, I also lived in the Minister of Information and Culture's house, who is my uncle. So I felt there's no chance, it's a no-brainer, I'm gonna get a job there. But he gave me the very best advice ever. He told me, or he encouraged me, he gave me the advice that I should pursue a professional art practice rather than seeking employment, because that in itself will not deliver to me fulfillment of my aspirations as a human being in itself alone. And that encouraged me, and that's where I went. So this conversation this afternoon is very appropriate to my motivations, and is perhaps maybe another opportunity for other young Nigerians to see the potential that there is in the visual arts, in the culture space, for self-employment, for discovering themselves through this crisis, as it were, to finding a way in which to re-engage and to achieve their potential. So I thank you very much again for the point you made, Mrs. Adejoh, and particularly sort of targeting the various ways in which people can sort of see advantage through adversity in this COVID period. Thank you very much.
Distinguished participants, my proud people of Owerri, Imo State, would say, a beautiful thing is not disparaged, it is called beautiful. This is a beautiful session. As presenter, our speaker, our lecturer has taken us through day-to-day survival facing the new normal. It's a challenge for each and every one of us. Communication is no longer what it was. There's a new thing in town. And the challenge is not only on speed, not only on data, it's on acquiring that essential skill. Be us adults or for our children. We cannot at NCSC thank you enough, Ms. Christie Adejoh, for today's engagement. It has been absolutely down to earth, engaging, and at the same time, challenging, just like COVID-19 itself. And nobody will be the same after today or after COVID. We have been warned, we are prepared, and we will meet the challenge of COVID, post-COVID, coro afterly, head on. I also want to really appreciate my DG. Oga, you should be wearing this outfit more often. I'm partial to it. You look absolutely regal. That's not to say that everything that you do is not even regal. You wear this one today and you're looking like you're one of them. But this is one basic way of advertising who we are, the very creative and beautifully innovative Nigerians, and the spirit of can-do. That is the one big stride that you have brought into NCSC. And at this level of digitalizing our relevance, you are doing it proudly Nigerian, proudly bringing in new dimensions in our interface with culture going forward. To every one of our participants today, particularly those of you who regularly join us every Saturday, we thank you very much. Without you, we'll be talking to ourselves, and that is not communication. Please keep a date with us, same time next week, when we're going to bring you another engaging speaker, topic, and a challenge to our being as human beings facing the challenge of COVID-19 and planning for tomorrow. Thank you again, each and every one of you, while I ask my DG to please give us his closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lizzie. Very distinguished participant. particularly Your Excellencies and our international participants. We want to thank you all for joining us for yet another platform of exchanging views. I cannot thank enough Vanarensi from India, our brother Tenza from Iran, Kofi from United States of America, Venezuela Embassy. I can go on. And of course, our good footballer of yesterday, Engineer Kaude Adeyemi, and then so many other names. I want to thank you. It's been wonderful. It's been a moment of sharing thoughts together. COVID-19 will not stop us from making contacts and networking. That's what we've proved to tell the world that we can also communicate COVID-19 or not. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, everything that is good must have an end, like Dr. Lizzie said. But today, somebody challenged me that I look like I'm from Delta. Of course, I'm from Nigeria, and I'm ready. If I can use the dress code of every part of this country to unite us and showcase what we have to the whole world, why not? So I'm very happy and proud that we've done that. But we've made up our mind that we have to be ending this session every Saturday with one proverb. And today I'm going to end with the proverb that said, no matter how intelligent a man or a woman is, he or she cannot clap with one hand. You need the two hands. So I invite all of you, our participants, to come with the two hands and join NCAC to do a very good clap. And I say, I wish you all the best. Bye. And we all sing bye. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. And it comes to an end. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Ambassador.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
All of you. Bye-bye. Jolly B. Baka. Wonderful. Patrick Oko, oh no, wonderful, good people.
Bye.
God bless you all.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Mercy John.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.